Dear children, this is Dr. Pawan Kumar here on this side. Today we are going to discuss a very important poem of your syllabus, My Mother at 66. Before we start, let's discuss about the title of this poem. My Mother and 66, there are two terms which can easily justify the title. In the first section of the title, you will see My Mother. It is showing the relationship between the children and the parents, how they are connected with them, what they think about them, about the relationship. And 66 is no doubt about the growing age of poetess mother. 66, which is continuous, which is progressive. Even if you close yourself in some room, you cannot stop your age. So we are getting to know through this poetry what is going to happen with the children, what is going to happen with the parents, and how this is related to the growing age of the parents, right? So, the poet of this poem is Kamala Das, very famous and renowned poet of our country, and she had lived from 1934 to 2009. She is known for her honesty and confessional style of poetry she had written. Children, you must learn this word confessional because in many of our poems, confession means when we are ready to admit our guilt, some helplessness is there. So this poetry, the My Mother at 66. This is also a confessional poetry. I will explain you when we'll go through the stanzas of the poetry. And what theme is going to revolve in this poem? It's about the love. I have already told you. Children, parents, they have a relationship of love between them, betrayal, and the complexities of human relationship, often from a female perspective. It's very common thing we might have seen that daughters are highly attached with their mothers, especially. Perhaps the love between the two would have been shown in this poem, and we'll go through the so complexity of the human relationship. See, there are a number of duties. Complexity means difficulties are there when we have to obey the relationship, right? There are two different relations, and at one time we can obey only one relation. So we have to leave one relation and we have to follow or we have to adopt another. So there is always dilemma in our life. So there are different choices, but sometimes we have to opt one. So this type of theme you will be finding over there. Let's read the poetry. In the stanza one, driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. These are very simple words. And you will see the poetess, she is returning from her mother's home, means parents' home, and she is returning to her Cochin, which is after marriage, which is her place. And it was last Friday and it was morning time because mother is sitting there in the vehicle drive from the driving you will understand how the two are accompanying and the poetess is driving the vehicle and mother is just sitting beside her. Sometimes there is very simple question from this poem and from the first part only, describe where she was going, where from she was returning, and then she found doze means getting sleepy, lethargic, lazy, open mouth. Open mouth means having some difficulty in breathing. Her face ashen. Ashen means burnt particles of something, like that of a corpse. Corpse means dead body, and realize with pain. So when the poetess, she look at her mother and she noticed so many things, which are the very general symptoms of old age, like dozing means in this age 66 more than 50, these are the common symptoms which are found in the old age, like dozing means getting sleepy, neend aana, bar bar neend aana. Open mouth means she is getting difficulty in breathing, इनहेलिंग एक्सहेलिंग कुछ समस्याएं ऐसी रहती हैं ओल्ड एज में. हर फेस एशन like that of a corpse. When she mentioned this word, corpse means a dead body, and she mentioned the word Asian, like burnt particles. She is taking us to the point, she is observing, approaching, or approaching death of her mother, actually. When she looked at her mother, she feels that her mother's face, it looked like those burnt particles and dead body. One more thing I would like to explain here, that corpse like that of a corpse. Her mother's face has been compared or substituted with this corpse. So you will find a literary device over here. Simile. Simile is the literary device over here. And realized with pain. This is very important, children. You will find two different views over here. Realized with pain. She found her mother, she was realizing pain in her body. By the same time, we some in some of the books, I think it is also understood this way, that the poetess is realizing the pain of her mother. This can also be understood this way, but in both cases, we will find how mother is in the old age. She is looking very lazy, and she has number of other difficulties like breathing difficulties there, and her face gives the appearance of a dead body, and she is having different type of pains. So when at first look, you might be having another question: what did she see on her mother's face at first look? There may be another important question which is very simple, and you will be easily explaining that she was getting dizzy and she was getting difficulty in breathing, and her face give the look of some dead body and ashen particles, and she was having pain in her different body parts. So in the second stage, we see that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and look out at young trees sprinting, the merry children spilling out of their homes. चिल्ड्रन आप यहाँ पे थोड़ा नोटिस करना, जो यहाँ पर लाइन है दैट शी वाज एज ओल्ड एज शी लुक्ड. आपने इस लाइन को इतना ही पढ़ना है, इतना ही समझना है, बिकॉज देयर इज सम पॉइंट. शी वाज एज ओल्ड एज शी लुक्ड. This is a point of stagnation in the age. Stagnation in one, stagnation in the sense, like in old age, what happens? Whatever the symptoms like trembling in the body, like getting difficulty in breathing, and so many other bend in the body, these these changes take place, and after some time these changes remain there for many years. I would like to mention your previous class chapter, The Portrait of a Lady, where Mr. Khushwant Singh has also mentioned since 20 years he had been observing her grandmother, his grandmother, and she was as old as she looked. The same thing has been mentioned by Kamala Das also. Means after a particular time, those changes, those symptoms remain same in the old age. So that's why she says she was as old as she looked. And second thing, this we come to know this was not the first time the poetess was observing and she saw her mother. It's not like that. It means she had been observing her mother for many years. Okay. So the line is to be understood from that to look on. Then next line, but soon put that thought away. Now you will be getting very important question from her. Which thoughts she wants to put away? These type of questions are there in the board exam. So which type of thoughts? Naturally, from the first stanza, we came to know that how she was observing her mother and she was getting, and she was worried about the approaching death of her mother, because age is continuous, it is progressive, nobody can stop it, right? And all those thoughts about the aging and separation is also linked with this, because age take place, then death take place, and ultimately the dear ones are departed from one another. Okay, all those thoughts while driving the car, sitting in the vehicle, she does not want to think, and she wants to divert her mind. And that's why when she looked out and she observed two very important events outside. She looked out at young trees sprinting, द मैरी चिल्ड्रन स्पेलिंग। चिल्ड्रन आप देखना, मैंने यहाँ पे कलर चेंज किया हुआ है, देर इज सम रीजन, क्योंकि यहाँ पर लिटरेरी डिवाइसेस हैं, यंग ट्री प्रिंटिंग में भी, मैरी चिल्ड्रन स्पेलिंग में भी। And this era is very important because of these two phrases. Very important. Because the poetess she has brought the beautiful contrast of two different ages. When she talks about young trees sprinting, okay, young is full of energy, there is too much zeal in the body, young people are enthusiastic, right? And she says young trees sprinting means running very fast. Children, when we sit in the car or any vehicle, this is a common phenomena. We see that it look like that the trees are running back, trees are running back, but it's not happening because we are moving our vehicle, right? So trees actually do not run, but we get the feeling of that the trees are running. Anyhow, what the poetess she wants to say over here, running very fast, only in the young age we are able to run very fast, right? Second thing, young trees are running very fast when non-living qualities are given, sorry, living qualities are given to non-living things, then there is one literary device, personification. Like trees otherwise so cannot run, but here uh, we have told it's sprinting means running very fast, right? So it's like an action. Okay. So the same time I express here how beautifully she has brought us before that young age and old age there is too much difference. In the young age we have lot of energy and we can run easily. And in the old age, as mother is sitting beside her in the vehicle and she is dozing, right? Now, married children spilling out of their homes. Marry means happy, children, you know what, and spilling means rushing, means coming out of their homes. Childhood, you know, children is the age which is full of happiness, right? Another contrast written by the poetess, that is the beginning of the life, which is full of happiness. Beside her, mother is sitting. She is not happy. She is realizing different type of pains in her body, right? That is beginning, that is the end. And in young treatment, that is the youth age, that is the old age. So through these two different phases, she has brought beautiful contrast of life. Young trees sprinting and married children spilling. They are out of their homes, means they just have started their life and they are very happy while entering in the world. And in the same two phrases you will find children, यहाँ पर दो दो तरीके की यहाँ पर आपको लिटरेरी डिवाइस मिलेंगी। जैसे यंग ट्रीज प्रिंटिंग में स्पेशली मैं बात करूंगा, क्योंकि पर्सोनिफिकेशन मैरी चिल्ड्रन में नहीं है। यहाँ पर यंग ट्रीज प्रिंटिंग में पर्सोनिफिकेशन भी है, ये इमेजरी में भी है, बिकॉज इट क्रिएट्स द इमेज इन अवर माइंड। मैरी चिल्ड्रन स्पेलिंग में एक ही लिटरेरी डिवाइस है, इमेजरी। सो यू विल अंडरस्टैंड दिस वे। So we have understood how she had been observing her mother for many years and she looked as old as she was, right? And she does not want to think about all those approaching death of her mother and all that, right? And that's why to divert her mind, she looked outside and she found the different aspects of life, right? And in the stage 3, but after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her. This is very simple. That is a common process at the airports. If ever you have traveled uh, by air, so you might have seen too much security is there, and that's a common thing. Then standing a few yards away, this is the moment when they are departing from one another. Right? Separation is taking place. Right? I looked again at her. You will get another important question from this line. Why did she look again? And why, you understand, children, why, what is the need of looking again? Because we are still doubtful, or else we can say we do not want to think about the approaching death of our mother, and that's why, to confirm those things, if she is really growing old and she death is approaching to her, and all, to confirm all those things, right? She looked again at her mother. Now, what did she observe now? Wan. Wan means colorless. Pale means yellowishness, as a late winter's moon. Now, children, you will understand. लिटरेचर में विंटर हमेशा डेप्थ और डिके से रेलेवेंट रहेगा हमेशा। अब और भी पोएम्स में मैं आपको पढ़ाऊंगा या चैप्टर्स में भी विंटर वर्ड आता है, तो ये दिस इज टाइप ऑफ लिटरेरी वर्ड कहेंगे इसको, जिसको विंटर में हम डेप्थ और डीके को मानते हैं, बिकॉज विंटर इज द सीजन विच इज फुल ऑफ फॉग एंड इनविजिबिलिटी रहती है, विजिबिलिटी इतनी अच्छी नहीं होती है, इवन प्रोसेसिंग जो है लाइफ की इट गोज वेरी स्लो। हम लोग भी विंटर में थोड़ा छुप के रहते हैं, रजाई में बैठे रहते हैं, हमारा भी काम करने का मन नहीं करता है ना। सो मतलब देर इज लॉस ऑफ सम वर्क, राइट। यहाँ मैटर क्या चल रहा है, when she looked again at her mother, and she found her face was still colorless, and the same yellowishness of that color was there on her face, and her face has been compared with once again late winter's moon. You understand, in the winter season, if you might have seen observed the moon, it gives a very dull and monotonous look, right? And the same features she observed on her mother's face, and means the second observation was almost same, right? There are sometimes different questions. What did she observe in first time and what did she observe in second time? Or there the words were different. Dozing, open mouth, those words were there, and action like that of a corpse. Here you see the swan, and it's late winter moon, right? But in both observations, she observed how mother's is approaching to her death, and she's growing old and old and old, right? And she could not do anything, right? Felt that familiar ache. This was very important line, children. I have seen number of sheets I check, and I see children mostly they do not differentiate, because the next line is my childhood's fear, old familiar ache. When there is a question of what was the old familiar ache, this is a little bit different, and my childhood's fear is a little bit different. The different questions would be there, and there is difference in the answers also. What is the familiar ache? Ache, what is this? Every time she observe her mother, she is growing old and old, and day by day she is getting weak, and she finds mother would be soon approaching to her death, but she is helpless. What is the age? You understand? The helplessness of the poetess can be seen over here, because she cannot stay back with her mom, and she cannot stay there to look after her mother, because she has to perform another responsibility at coaching, right? Where there is another family waiting for her. So this is so called human complexity we read in the beginning of the poem. ये ये चीज समझने की है। इंसान जो है अब वो कौन सी ड्यूटी करे, अब उसे अपनी मदर को लुक आफ्टर करने के लिए रुकना चाहिए, या उसे अपने इन लॉज की फैमिली है, हस्बैंड है, शी शुड गो देयर, राइट। सो दिस इज फेमिलियर एक मीन्स every time whenever she visited her mother's home, she felt that she could not stay there, she could not do anything for her, just meeting her, and that's all, just noticing how she is growing old, and once she would die, and ultimately there would not be anybody with whom she is loved actually. Now, my childhood fear, very important question. Why this is childhood fear? Here you will understand. Fear of separation is there. H means the helplessness of the poetess. Familiar A. And H means helplessness of the poet, because she could not stay there with her mom. And childhood fear means since her childhood, because she loved too much her mother. If you will go through the other poetry of the poet Kamala Das, you will come to know that she was very attached with her mother, right? So since childhood, she had been in worry कि मेरी mother ओल्ड हो जाएंगी, मर जाएंगी, फिर मेरा क्या होगा, मैं किसके साथ रहूंगी, मैं किससे मिलने आऊंगी, दिस टाइप इंडियन फैमिलीज में भी ऐसे सिस्टम रहता है, दैट डॉटर्स आर टू मच कनेक्टेड विद देयर मदर्स, राइट। तो एनी हाउ इसको चाइल्डहुड फियर इसलिए इसीलिए बिकॉज शी हैड बीन ऑब्जर्विंग हर मदर सिंस हर, and she lived in the fear of separation and this growing ओल्ड एज, बिकॉज एज को तो मैंने पहले ही बता दिया, कोई रोक ही नहीं सकता, है ना। आप अपने आप को कमरे में बंद कर लेंगे ना बॉयज, तो इतनी बड़ी बड़ी दाढ़ी और मूछें आ जाएंगी आप, यू कैन नॉट स्टॉप इट, इट्स ऑलवेज प्रोग्रेसिंग, इट्स कॉन्टिन्यूस, इट्स एजिंग, राइट। एक कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी की बात जो मैंने अभी की थी, अब जो लाइनें हम पढ़ेंगे देखना आप उसमें क्या है। बट ऑल आई सेड वाज सी यू सून अम्मा, हालांकि सी यू सून अम्मा व्हेन शी सेड देयर इज सम पॉजिटिविटी, वी फाइंड अ रे ऑफ होप, राइट। और यहीं पर मैं आपको बताऊंगा कि ह्यूमन कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी देखो क्या है, मन में क्या चल रहा है, शी इज वरिड, शी फील्स द एच, शी इज इन फियर, बाहर देखो क्या चल रहा है। वो कहती है सी यू सून अम्मा, देयर इज पॉजिटिविटी, दिस इज कॉल्ड ह्यूमन कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी। कि हमारे रिलेशनशिप में ऐसी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज रहती हैं कि हम चाह करके भी सच्चाई, कई बार अपने पेरेंट्स को या अपने रिलेटिव्स को वो फीलिंग्स नहीं एक्सप्रेस कर सकते। हम लगाव नहीं बता सकते अपनी मदर को कि मुझे आपकी ग्रोइंग एज की और आपको डेथ को लेकर के मुझे फियर है, मुझे चिंता है इस बात। शी कैन नॉट एक्सप्रेस दिस, एंड शी इज रादर नॉट श्योर कि व्हेन नेक्स्ट टाइम इफ शी सपोज शी प्लान टू विजिट हर मॉम, she would see her or not. She's It's doubtful, and that's why she looked again at her. We read in a line, right? And still she says, see you soon, Amma, right? And all I did was smile and smile and smile. Keeping smiling on her face is another duplicacy she is keeping on her face just to hide all those feelings, those love feelings which she is carrying in her heart for her mother. Example of human complexity, right? So she keeps a smile and she bids farewell to her mom, and with these words, because you will be getting another question from this part, how did she bid farewell to her mom? So keeping smile, and others she with a positive note, see you soon, Amma. So this way, when she has used this word smile and smile and smile, so children, you will find the repetition over here. When same word is repeated in the very nearby lines, so there is literary device repetition. Similarly, I read this late winter moon. See children, जहां कहीं भी सब्स्टिट्यूशन या रिप्लेसमेंट या कंपैरिजन एक का दूसरे के साथ लाइक और एज वर्ड के साथ होगा, तो वहां पर लिटरेरी डिवाइस होगी सिमली। अंडरस्टैंड, पहले भी हमने किया लाइक दैट ऑफ अ कॉप्स, लाइक वर्ड था वहां पर। यहां पर एज अ लेट विंटर्स मून, मदर्स फेस हैज बीन कंपेयर्ड विद विंटर्स मून, राइट। सो यहाँ पर भी सिमिली है एज और लाइक वर्ड की वजह से। ओके, so comparison is taking place with the word like or as. Don't write wrong spelling, children. Simile means simile, because in the maximum sheets children are not aware about this and they write wrong smile, यही smile smile लिख के आ जाते हैं and it goes wrong. Wrong नहीं तो कम से कम टीचर को पता चल जाता है the children is not, they are not doing well in the exam, right? So this was all about the poem. Once again, I repeat all those things, though we have gone through already once about the literary device. Action like that of a corpse, it's a simile, very simple, I have told you. And a late winter moons, I have told you it's simile. Personification, I have told you already. Young trees sprinting, right? When living qualities are given to non-living things, trees cannot run, but sprinting word has been used by the poet, right? सो ह्यूमन क्वालिटी दे दी उसको ट्रीज को, तो हम लोग कहेंगे पर्सोनिफिकेशन यहाँ पर। एंड देन देयर इज अ रेपिटेशन, आई हैव टोल्ड यू द सेम वर्ड इज रिपीटेड व्हेन इन सम लाइन, सो देयर इज रेपिटेशन। Little bit will analyze the theme of the poem, the pain of separation. I have told you already, since her childhood, she was observing her mother and she had lived in the pain of separation. So, this would be the central theme of the poem. If you get a question, write the theme of this poetry. So, easily you can write that this was the pain of separation. And second is aging and mortality, right? So, humans, they have not been given any control over this. It is in the hands of God, so called. So, it is continuous and it is regular, it is progressive. Another thing is hope versus reality. How this theme has come out. Children, you remember at the last when she has used the phrase "see you soon, Amma." That was a hope, right? Versus reality. What is the reality? Reality, she had noticed two times in the poem that mother is approximately approaching to her death, and she was in dilemma. If she would be seeing her mother in the future or not, she is doubtful about that. So these all themes run around this poem, and you will be writing in your examination. Let's conclude the poem with these words. The poem is a poignant journey through a daughter's emotions as she faces her mother's old age, right? So it's a painful journey of the poem, right? And it highlights the painful duality of life and death, youth and decay. We already taking the two example of young trees sprinting and another merry children spelling out of the we have brought out. What is the similarity, children? One very important question. What is the similarity in those two phrases? Young trees sprinting and merry children spelling. You don't know, perhaps. What is the similarity? Contrast is asked, you can easily explain, you will say youth versus old, and that is beginning versus end, right? But what is the similarity? Similarity is just this, children, understand? These are sprinting to the last destination. Children are rushing out from there, ultimately, they would also go to the last destination. Mom, she's sitting beside Poetus, beside, and she's also going to means we all have one last destination. This is the similarity. Okay, if you get this type of question, so she leaves us with a relatable feelings of loss, love, and the silent, unspoken promises we make to our loved ones. This is very simple, children. There are number of occasions that we cannot express our feelings to the parents whenever suppose they go in some illness, they are growing old, we cannot express our feelings, and still हमें कई बार डॉक्टर बता भी देता है कि अब आपके पेरेंट्स या कोई ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स जो हैं अब वो नहीं रहेंगे इतना टाइम उनके पास, स्टिल वी डू नॉट एक्सप्रेस देम कि ऐसा होने वाला है, तो वी ऑलवेज make try to make their day happy, right? Like it was done by the poetess in this poem. Okay, final thought, the poem reminds us to cherish our relationship. Yes, so this is a very beautiful poem, children. When from the title only we cherish this relationship means my mother. See the possession, see the relationship, see the connectivity, right? So, but in relationship, when life is there, there are difficulties also, okay, which we have to face, and ultimately we pass our life. So this is all about the poem. Thank you very much, children. God bless you all.